What is happening, guys? My name is Jamie, this is the Norwich Reptile Shed, and in this video we're going to be building another 4-foot vivarium. So this is the same plan and dimensions of the 4x2x2 builds that I've done over the last couple of years, including the big how to build one video that I did on YouTube maybe 2 years ago, which did pretty well, by the way. That one's done really well. But there is a slight issue with those vivarium plans that I use, and that is that I don't actually have to go to a shop and buy one sheet of plywood to make the vivarium. The actual design I use basically utilises the spare offcuts that I get from when I build these 6-foot vivariums. I always just have tons of spare wood in the shed after I cut this stuff up. So the construction is going to be exactly the same whether or not you're using the dimensions that I currently use or the dimensions that I'm going to put up in a minute that is going to cover a one sheet vivarium. And I'm going to put that up now, and this is going to be the dimensions to cut a 4x2x2 vivarium, or at least the closest you can get to a 4x2x2 foot vivarium, using one sheet of 18mm plywood or some sort of sheet material. So the story behind this vivarium is I'm not going to actually kit the thing out to make some kind of really cool themed vivarium just yet. The vivarium's actually going to be a holding vivarium for the boigers, and that is so I can then empty the vivariums out for the on the boiger part of the shed, and that means I can kind of have a little bit more time doing that and not be rushed having a snake in a tub while I'm stripping things out, and taking my time to kind of make a really cool vivarium for them snakes. So that being said, let's crack on and I'll show you what I've done. Right, so in a Norwich Reptile Shed first, maybe a second, I've actually gone out and got the wood cut, which means I've already got the vivarium already cut up. Now I've still got a few things to do, but this is basically my 4-foot by 2-foot by 2-foot vivarium without the plinths. So this size pretty much uses up a whole sheet of plywood, and the reason I do that is because I already have other vivariums that are the same size, so I can't go making a smaller one and plonk it on top, because that's going to look so strange. So this is the exact dimensions of all the other 4-foot vivariums that I have in the shed, and what I need to do now is finish these edges because they're a little bit rough from the saw, and then I need to cut some plinths, but I'll show you them, and I'll show you how I cut the plinths as well. But yeah, basically I went to my friend's timber yard, I purchased one sheet of plywood, and I asked them to cut them to the dimensions that I had, which felt nice because I did not have to bring a sheet of wood home and cut it in my garden, which we obviously all know I can do because I've filmed it millions of times, but this one saved me a load of effort, and it's definitely worth it if you can get the cuts done for free, or at least only a couple of quid. So up here I keep a stash of plywood, and these are all my offcuts from other big builds, so we can see there that I've got plenty to actually make the plinths out of. So what I need to do is whip this outside, set my circular saw up for the depth of my plinths, which is obviously all going to match these 4-foot vivariums. So these plinths are 80mm, and yeah, once we've got that going, we can start building this thing. Okay, so that is all my bits of wood cut and ready to go. All I need to do is sand the edges as I go, but I'm going to actually build the vivarium in here. Let's get cracking. Okay, so the first thing I need to do with this base of the vivarium is pre-drill the screw holes that are going to attach the sides and the back and the plinth. Now, the easiest way I found, rather than measuring every single hole, is to make yourself a little template. So I have measured from the edge of this bit of ply to a mark which is 9mm. That's going to put me in the middle of the bit of plywood that's going to be on top, and that means that I'm going to have a pre-drilled hole dead center of that piece of wood, which means the screw isn't going to poke out. As long as everything's nice and square and straight, we shouldn't have any issues with a screw poking out of the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around, I'm going to do everything except the plinth, because the plinth needs to be back a little bit further, actually the depth of another sheet of 18mm, so actually just 18mm further back. That's just for my design. So yeah, let's just go around and do that. Okay, it's day 2 because I got quite annoyed with this. It turned out not many of the panels were the right size. Everything was like a few millimeters out, and when that starts to add up, things really start to come out. So yeah, got a bit stressed out, but we are gonna crack on. We're gonna get the plinths on, the top on, and then probably look at staining it. And I'm still waiting for the glass tracks to turn up, so I can't measure the glass. I could put once it's stained, I'll sort the holes out for the vents. That's the one. So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so there is a 4x2x2 carcass done. Things we need to do next is drill the holes for the vents, get the stain on, varnish on, and then seal the joints. And then hopefully by then the glass tracks will have arrived. We can get the glass tracks done, measured up for the glass. Could measure up for the glass now. Only got to kind of do a little bit more math and figure out the depth of the glass track, but I can get the glass cut on the day, so that's no problem. Yeah, so let's drill the holes and see how we get on. Okay, so the vents, I'm going to be using exactly the same system that I use in all my vivarium builds, and that is going to be these little round soffit vents. To get these in the vivarium, I need to drill a hole, need a hole saw, so go ahead and mark these. I'm basically just going to copy all the other measurements from my 4x2s, and then to aid with thermal gradient inside these vivariums, what I do is mount my soffit vents lower on the cool side, higher on the hot side, and that creates a draw through the vivarium and sucks in cooler air on the cool side. So that helps with the gradient that we're trying to get. Okay, so I've made it outside to my garage now, where I'm gonna paint and seal this vivarium. So everything's sanded, everything is hoovered out, ready to go. I'm just gonna hit it up with some stain and yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so now the staining is done, the varnishing is done. I'm kind of ready to wrap this video up because, like I said at the start, I'm only putting an animal in here temporarily, so we're not going to kit it out with loads of cool stuff. Just going to basically put a heat lamp UV light in there as well, and that should be good enough just for a temporary holding viv. The next thing I need to do, and it's going to be the last two things, I'm going to go around and seal all the joints with HA6 silicone, and I'm going to put the glass track in, which means I can measure for the glass and get that cut. I have a dedicated video on how to measure glass for vivariums, so if you click that link below, you can check out how I do all the math and how I buy it as well. I've covered the glass track millions of times, but I'll just go over it quickly. You get two. If you buy a glass runner track, you get two in a set. The shallow one is at the bottom, which is what the glass is going to sit on, and the deeper one goes at the top, and that is what the glass, you can push the glass up into to be able to remove the glass if you need to clean it or do anything like that. Just to prepare the glass for sticking to the plywood, all I'm going to do is scuff the back edge up and score it up with a little bit of sandpaper, and then I can just use HA6 silicone on it, and we can stick that on and then just put a bit of tape around it and let it dry. So there we have it, guys. There is another 4x2 by 2 foot build for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Like I said at the start of the video, this is actually going to be a holding vivarium for one of my boigers, and that's going to be while I upgrade all the boiger vivariums. So look out for that video. So I'm not going to actually film what I'm going to do to inside this, because it's just going to be a basic setup for a snake temporarily, and then I'll probably film a video doing something really cool for the corn snake that I've got that's going to be going in here. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.